Discovery, and welcome to another episode of Discovery. We have another big episode for you guys today. But let's kick off with the first part of Discovery, which is singles. So the first song is Voivod End of Dormancy. Just released a new song, and this song is quite an interesting song in my opinion. Very progressive, it's very jazzy as well. There's so many different time signatures. What I don't really enjoy about this song is the overall vocal tone. The vocals aren't very good in my opinion, and the guitar tone as well, and there's just so many unpredictable moments. It's just fucking weird, this song. The End of Dormancy, there is just so many ideas combined into one, and it just doesn't fit. The End of Dormancy is a okay song. Like, there's so many surprises. I mean, it's cool in some parts, but yeah, it's just not my cup of tea, man. The cause of it is suddenly unafraid. Enslaved released a new song called Homebound. This is just a fantastic song. I absolutely love the instrumentals, really enjoy his harsh aggressive vocals, those black metal vocals that you usually get from an Enslaved song. It's like prog black, and it's fucking awesome. The drummer also sings in that chorus, and I love that melodic chorus, and he's got some really nice clean vocals. What I do enjoy about the song overall is the overall proggy elements and the time signatures and the ethereal feel you're getting, the lushing, lavishing guitars throughout this song along with the tremolo pickings. It's just overall a really good song to bang your head to. I honestly cannot wait for the new album to drop, and there will be more Enslaved coming this episode. I will know the way to the portal. Finally, the last single I checked out was The Ghost Inside and their song Pressure Point. Fuck this! Fake sympathy! You're everything I despise! This is a lot better song than the previous song I checked out on The Ghost Inside. I can't remember, I think it was called fucking Aftermath. I didn't really enjoy it. It was a little bit cheesy in my opinion, but Pressure Point is a fantastic song. It really is. I just love hard hitting. There are some gentle moments along with really nice chord progression, and the chorus is fire. I really love those harsh vocals throughout this song. Fun time, it really is, and I love how quick and energetic the song is. This is a metalcore song, by the way. I know some of you don't like metalcore, but this is a really good metalcore song, and it's one of the best metalcore songs I've heard of this year. And now we go to the albums. The newly released albums, and the first album is End Ocean's Cosmic World Mother. This is a symphonic black metal album, very different in style. They incorporate symphonic elements throughout this album, not making it as cheesy as some other symphonic metal bands out there like Gomorra. This album is pretty good. It's a pretty good album. I do love the flow of this album, and his vocals are very good, and I just really enjoy the atmosphere. This is a very atmospheric album. Songs like Vigilance and a Trophy is just a really hard-hitting, fast, energetic song. Some really nice guitar solos throughout the song, and I love the chord progression as well. And it's like you're stuck in its cave trying to get out, but you just can't get out until you finally get to the end of the cave where that light is present. And I do really love how vibrant this album feels throughout the end of the album. A flickering of lights. There's a hope that everything's going to be okay. But it's a very spacey sort of album, quite atmospheric, really nice symphonic elements, not making it cheesy at all, which is fucking brilliant for a symphonic black metal album. And Ocean's Cosmic World Mother, I will give this a 7 out of 10. So another album I checked out was Odraza Rezikom. And this is a Polish black metal band, I believe. This is a really cool album. I just love his harsh vocals. His black metal screams are absolutely fantastic. For instance, I think track 3 sounds like a circus song with the lead guitars that lead on to really heavy, hard-hitting blast beats. There's some really crazy moments. It's proggy as fuck, and it's very, very interesting. Interesting than N Oceans, that's for sure. And Ocean seemed like a basic formula that we were following. Well, Adraza, you can expect anything. You can expect anything. You can also expect some jazzy moments as well. It's a very tight case of album, in my opinion. For Adraza Resecom, I will definitely recommend you it. I give you an 8.5 out of 10. So then we go to Revenge Strike Mother Dehhumanize, one of the worst albums I've heard this month. And that's just being honest. I didn't really enjoy this album. His vocals are okay in my opinion, although it sounds like you have a fucking line on a few songs, to be honest. I mean, really? Yeah, man, I'm not really interested. It's like black and grind death metal. Okay, I suppose. It's okay. Why would you want to hear that for? Why would you want to hear that? Into some intricacy moments and to really different soundscape. I do love the doomy guitars at times, sludgy moments, but it's a black and death grind album. I didn't really enjoy it. So for Revenge Strike Smother Dehhumanize, I'd still recommend you if you like death grind, if you like black and death grind, but I will give this a 4 out of 10. So then we go into Caligula's Horse Rise Radiant. An okay album. There's a lot of ballads throughout this album, in my opinion. It's very proggy as well, but it's not as heavy as the Caligula Horses albums I have checked out. So to be honest, I was pretty disappointed with this album. I really was. It's got a really good body structure, but I just feel that these songs lack. Nothing grabs me by the balls and throws me against a wall, that's for sure. It's just basic prog, and it's generic prog in my opinion. And I do love prog, but I don't like this, and I didn't really enjoy his vocals throughout this album, and I have seen him live, and I know how capable they are to produce such an energetic, hard-hitting live show, but for this, it didn't transfer to this fucking album. No, it didn't. But for Caligula's Horse Rise Radiant, a 6 out of 10. So then we go to Gomorra Divine Judgement. A very interesting album overall. Just imagine heavy metal, black and thrash metal at times, combining an album into a concept horror album as well. And this is what you get. Divine Judgement has some really nice thrashy moments along with nice guitar solos. His vocals are really good at times dynamic, but yet sometimes out of tune in my opinion. But that's one negative I can say about this album. It doesn't really grab me. Again, it doesn't really grab me. I can't really gravitate towards it. But do I want to listen to it again? Probably not. I mean, this is a passable album in my opinion, and it's just an okay album. It's a really nice drum work as well. But for Gomorra Divine Judgement, I will give this a 6.5 out of 10. So then we go to Fairyland, Osyrhianta. Such a gift. This is a similar band to like Rhapsody or even Blind Guardian, except Rhapsody and Blind Guardian do it a lot more better, that's for sure. And even Nightwish. It's a symphonic orchestral album, and surely it's got some really nice moments. His vocals are pretty good. There are some power metal elements as well. Really angelic moments throughout. And you know what? Some songs are absolute killers. Take note for the Age of Birth, which has some awesome rhythm guitar, nice lead progression, and I do love the drums. But then you get songs like The Herald of Greenlands, which isn't a good song in my opinion. You got some okay songs, but for Fairyland, Osyrhianta, I will give this probably 6 out of 10. So then we go from Howl Rats and Ravens. This is a good album, it really is. Sort of a thrash album, incorporating elements of heavy metal. Very similar to Gomorra, Divine Judgement, except From Howl Rats is slightly better in my opinion, because it's a lot darker, there's another horror concept, and From Howl to Gomorra is it's got a very similar structure. It's like you got some killer songs as well, and you got some weaker songs, but this album flows pretty well. From Howl Rats and Ravens, I will definitely recommend you this album. It's a 7 out of 10. So now we go to the worst album of the month, and this is the worst album of the month, that's for sure. It's a lot of people were saying this is one of the best albums of the year, but they also said that this band had also another great album this year as well. And we're talking about Old Man Gloom, Seminar 8, Light of Meaning. This album is, oh wow, like there's so many other sludge doom metal bands out there, and Old Man Gloom just creates such a mess, dissonant mess. I don't enjoy this album. It's just a plain horrible mess, it really is. Surely there is a few songs that are okay, with some doomy elements, post-metal elements, incorporating elements of metalcore, mathcore, but it's just a whole fucking mess. And even their last album was a terrible album as well. You got some dissonant noise, farting noises as well, especially throughout this album, especially through the first song. There's a huge farting noise, like someone just dropped a bomb out of their ass. I really don't enjoy this album. Old Man Gloom Seminar 8, Light of Meaning, a 2 out of 10. Ugh. So now we go to the albums I have explored for this week. And first on the chopping block is Sepultura, Morbid Visions. I didn't expect to enjoy this album, but I did. The reason why I enjoyed this album was how black metal it was. This is a black metal album. His vocals are on point. I really love those harsh, aggressive vocals. I love the blackened guitars as well. The drumming is fantastic. And even the production is really good. This is one of the best Sepultura albums I've checked out. For Morbid Visions, I'll give this an 8 out of 10. And now we go to one of the worst albums I've heard of all time. And this is definitely a lot of people's masterpiece. And to be honest, I don't know how you see Scum by Napalm Death is a masterpiece, because this is an absolute shocker of an album. It really is, and this is just basically my opinion. You may really love it, but I understand how they innovated grindcore, but I can't really get into that punky, thrashy grindcore that Napalm Death create in such an album called Scum. This album is, in my opinion, not very good. Surely there are some groovy riffs now and again, but you know what? It was achingly exhausting to go through all 20-something songs for 33 minutes. I just wanted to kill myself. Napalm Death Scum, I'm giving this a 3 out of 10. I don't even want to talk about this album. But of course, I've checked out a few other Napalm Death albums this month, and there'll be another album mentioned on Discovery very soon. So then we go to Enslaved and the album Out. This album is like a Viking black metal album. I love how proggy this album is. There's some really nice changes throughout the songs. Black metal vocals are incredible. The blast beats are amazing, along with the clean guitars at times, with the awesome solos. This album is a ride. It really is. You get songs that are 15, 16 minutes long. Ooh, unbelievable. Unlike Napalm Death Scum, where you get like a 4-second song. What a load of trash that is. This Enslaved wipes the scum off the floor, that's for sure. So for Enslaved Out, I will give this a a 9 out of 10. So then we go to Panopticon, Kentucky. This album is so damn interesting, very interesting passages along the way. You get some banjo, you get some country moments. It's really such an interesting album, but it's also a black metal album. Very cool black metal album. I love it. Something very different. Honestly, when I heard it for the first time, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I really enjoyed it. And again, it mopped Scum off the floor, that's for sure. Panopticon, Kentucky, an 8.5 out of 10. So then we lead on to Edge of Sanity and the album Unorthodox. Now, I do love Afterglow Purgatory. I think that's an amazing album. Well, for this album, Unorthodox, I was a little bit disappointed. It's a very strange album, it really is, and it's very different. It's like following a concept, I believe, and surely there are some really nice moments. I just feel the production on this album isn't as good as the other albums after Unorthodox, but in all, it's 100 times better than Scum by Napalm Death, that's for sure. For Edge of Insanity Unorthodox, a 7 out of 10. So then we go to Ulcerate, Everything is Fire. This is a dissonant, blackened, death, technical death metal album, you could say. Throw in a few blacks, throw in a few blues. This is a really good album, it really is. Surely the album really calms down. You get songs very similar to their newer album, but overall this is a really cool album. It really is. I love how proggy it is. Sometimes his vocals are so damn demonic. But for Osyrhianta, Everything is Fire, we'll give this a 7.5 out of 10. And then we go to more Napalm Death and the album VIII, Emptiness, Despair. I really enjoyed this album, I really did, and it definitely wiped the scum off the floor. Napalm Death, VIII, Emptiness, Despair is a brutal death metal album with so many different changes. It's a very proggy sort of album. I really enjoy his vocals, and I do love the guitar work throughout this album. The drumming is really good, and some of the songs are all killers with no fillers. This is a really cool death metal album. This is definitely one of the best Napalm Death albums in my opinion. But yeah, for VIII, Emptiness, Despair, I will give this a 7.5 out of 10. So then we go to Celtic Frost, Morbid Tales. Like a demo EP album, you could say, before their first album. This album was boring. It was a pretty boring album. Nothing really grabbed me at all. It was just plain stone cold boring. It's a thrashy album, and this was before they were black metal, so we were first wave of black metal here, and it was just thrash. It sounded like Slayer, and I love Slayer, but it's a pretty shitty Slayer version, to be honest. And Celtic Frost, I believe, were a lot better throughout the next few albums, but for Morbid Tales, a 3.5 out of 10, a very boring album to listen to. Then we go to Necrophagist and the album Epitaph. This is a technical death metal band, and the album's 33 minutes, but man, it feels like it's gone for an hour. This is a wankery album. I fucking love Dream Theater, but and people call them wankery. This is a wankery album, that's for sure, because there's just so many changes. It's just really there's some really good technical goodness, but nothing really gravitates towards me, and I always forget the melodies and everything. His vocals are okay, I gotta say, but yeah, it's an average album. Would I listen to this album again? Probably not, and I'd probably recommend it to you if you like technical death metal, but Necrophagist Epitaph didn't really do much for me, so it's a 5 out of 10. Finally, we get to some really good shit, and it's Cannibal Corpse, Torture. This album was released a few years ago. It's a killer. This album is a killer. I love the bass moments. I love how proggy it is as well. There's some really nice progressive elements, some really nice bass moments throughout this song. And like Corpse Grinder's vocals are just fantastic. So much better than Necrophagist vocals. Cannibal Corpse has a really intense way of putting things down, and the lyrics overall are really, really cool. And I just love the overall element. I'll surprise you getting throughout this album. Some songs are so damn catchy, and it's just a joy to listen to. But for Cannibal Corpse Torture, definitely not the best album I've heard by Cannibal Corpse, but man, it gets a 7.5 out of 10. Okay, so that's it for Discovery. I hope you did enjoy it. There wasn't much to explore this week on Discovery. Surely there were some mediocre albums. Surely there were some really bad albums as well. But I'm here to give you my recommendations. Of course, the albums will be in a link in the description if you want to check them out. But I do recommend all these albums. And if you like Napalm Death, if you like grindcore, and if you like that punkcore to grindcore, you're going to really enjoy Scum. So check out Scum as well. But yeah, these albums didn't really gravitate towards me. I do like the later Napalm Death albums. So guys, that's where I leave you. Comment below if you enjoyed this Discovery. Keep discussion going in the comment section below. Subscribe if you want. Make sure if you enjoy Discovery, make sure you drop a like as well. And I will see you in the next Discovery.